Right now, though, we want to head on over to Boerne, where David Lynch has been monitoring the situation there. He's off River Road, which has been closed as the Cibolo Creek rise. David, you were saying they opened up 2 shelters already for folks there in Boerne.
Yeah, that's right, Audrey, and that's because the rain has only continued to pick up in the last hour, so it just did so again in the last few moments. In fact, that's why officials continue to block off River Road and some other side roads, not only so that folks don't find themselves in dangerous situations, but also so that they don't impede with emergency operations going on. I'm going to step aside so you can see what's going on behind me. Now, 2 shelters have opened up to welcome folks who need it. Those are at the Boerne IC Central offices. Those are at 235 Johns Road, and as well as the Patrick Heath Public Library at 451 North Main Street. Now, to give you an idea of how much rain has fallen, at 8 a.m. this morning in Boerne, the water level in Cibolo Creek was at 8 feet. As of noon, Cibolo Creek water levels in Boerne recorded at 22 feet. So that's a 14-foot rise in the water levels here just in 4 hours. The sheer speed at how fast this situation has developed is why Kendall County is telling residents, urging them who live along River Road to seek higher ground when you can, so long as it is safe to do so. We've seen images of water overtaking roads, overtaking sidewalks, overtaking parking lots as well. This does continue to be a life-threatening situation, expected to continue this afternoon and possibly into the evening hours here in Boerne and in the surrounding area. We talked to someone who lives about 10 miles away on a ranch, found himself down here just before all this picked up really dangerously. He said in his 5 years living in this part of Kendall County, he has never seen rain this bad. We'll be here all afternoon and into the evening to help continue to monitor the situation, bring you the latest updates on air as well as online. In Boerne, David Lynch, KENS 5.
Stay safe out there, David. Okay, as we've been talking about that tornado that touched down near I-10 in La Cantera, knocked down trees, caused some severe damage to a number of businesses and apartment complexes there. I want to get right to Sue Kalberg, who's been there all morning and has a look at that damage.
I'm here at the Palladium at the Rim with a secret to share with you, because this is styrofoam. And now I want you to look at these big piles of debris. Does that look like big structural debris? Well, of course it does. And it is big structural debris, because everything that had been on the upper porch, which is like, what, 3 stories up there, you can see the porch, the inner ceiling of the porch is no longer there. That's because what was way up there in the sky is now down here on the sidewalk. But the good news is that nobody was hurt. The other good news is that the Santikos people were on this from the beginning. They reached out to us right away. They said they were on it. They said they would provide an update as soon as they had one to say when they would in fact be back in business here. But I can tell you that first they started out right away with employees getting the place to a point where it wasn't dangerous. Then a private contractor showed up and the real work began. And that is the scene everywhere here at the Rim. There are landscaping guys and chainsaws and blowers and mulchers and electricians and plumbers and every kind of tradesman you can imagine. So the recovery effort is well underway, and as it continues, we will stay with it and bring you the latest as we get it. At the Rim, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
Thanks so much, Sue. Earl Stoudemire has been in Uvalde all morning, and right now he is at Uvalde Memorial Park, where the water is quickly rising just in over the last hour. I want to get right to him to see where that river stands as of now, Earl.
Audrey, good morning to you. So we've had scattered showers here in Uvalde, but what's been constant is the river constantly rising, because in the last 2 hours, this was a dry sidewalk and the water's already at my ankles. If I just give you a reference of just pushing my foot down into the water, the water can easily flow into my boots right now. So we're going to just walk out and show you a little bit more of what we're seeing as the water slowly creeps uphill here at Uvalde Memorial Park, with the walkway completely washed over. And we're also seeing some of the damage from yesterday with how high the water got. Moving uphill, we have a frisbee golf basket knocked out of the ground. The cement, it's up in the air. We have big chunks of debris knocked over against the railing. And then even further past the bridge on Highway 90, you can't even go over there because there's so much debris that's been clumped up in the river, it gets more narrow the further you go. So all of this being said, from last night to this morning, Uvalde County officials say that they've had to do 25 rescues from 8 p.m. last night to 9 this morning. When we got the update at 10 a.m., they also gave us the update that 9 people were getting rescued in northern Uvalde County with the heavy rainfall. So they haven't given us any new details on that rescue, but we are hopeful and excited to just see that everyone is safe in that situation. But we are not getting any more updates with all first responders working around the clock. We've even heard Texas game wardens going up and down Highway 90 with their boats ready to get out on the water. But also it just shows you how insane it is over here with the current pushing outward towards us uphill, seeing it in real time. Because at 10 a.m. when we gave an update, I was able to give you a live shot on the concrete. Now, this would easily be right below my knees if I stepped right where that tree is. So for everyone, we're still in the flash flood warning until 7 p.m. here in Uvalde County. So be sure to stick with us, KENS5.com for weather and traffic updates. Reporting live, Earl Stedemeyer, KENS 5.
Thanks so much, Earl, for that update. The Oasis Apartments here in San Antonio off UTSA Boulevard, they had some major damage as a result of that tornado that touched down. We actually got an update from UTSA police who said they had about 12 of their students who are living there at the Oasis Apartments who have been affected as a result of that tornado touching down. Want to get to Andrew Moore for a closer look at that damage.
Hey, I'm over here by the Oasis Apartments by UTSA, and these apartments were unfortunately partially hit by a tornado. You can see part of the roof of one of the buildings was ripped off, and that means that saws had to come out. They had to shut down the water at the city's request, and they're cleaning up the property right now. When we were at the apartment earlier, one tenant told us that she had to get everything off of her balcony and bring it inside as that wind came in. She said there was this howling wind outside. She said she could see chairs floating through the air as those strong winds from that tornado went by. But luckily she was able to get everything off of her balcony before it caused any damage to the building. When we were on the property, you could see that many of the carports had been destroyed. There was debris everywhere, and the city is trying to pick all that back up. Now, fortunately, no one was hurt. That's the good news out here. The bad news is that the power is down, the water is going to be down. SAWS told us if part of the top of a building is taken off, that could cause problems for potential water infrastructure. So the better thing to do is to turn it off to make sure that you're not causing any additional damage. And they're waiting for the city to tell them that it's safe to turn it back on again. And when we were at that property earlier today, we did get to briefly speak to management, which said they are working to help tenants at this time, but they couldn't give us any more information on exactly what was happening at the apartment complex right now. We are going to be reaching out to the city for additional information. Near UTSA, Andrew Moore, KENS 5.
All right now though, still a lot of rain across our viewing area. I want to check in with Ryan Shoptaw for the very latest.
Yeah, Audrey, so we have a lot more rain in the hill country, so it's continuing to add in, hour after hour. It's resulting in especially a lot of flooding in Boerne. I mean, in southern Kendall County, we showed that earlier in the newscast and pretty much the last couple hours, where Highway 46, a lot of it is just overtaken by so much water at the surface being deposited by so many thunderstorms that have been dropping in, again, hour after hour, rain, storm after storm, and you can see what's causing it. So if you look closely, you can see some spin in the atmosphere right around here. This is north of Kerrville. It's spinning counterclockwise. It's almost like a small, very small hurricane where it's just driving in rain, shower, thunderstorm after another, and that's what's causing and prompting so many flood warnings, flood concerns across the entire region. I mean, yesterday was mainly focused along Highway 90, which, by the way, which we'll talk about in a second, all the flood warnings for the Nueces, the Frio, the Sabinal River between there and Hondo. But now it's shifting farther north towards the hill country, and I think by tomorrow morning early, we'll see another round of some overnight rain. It'll start to begin to shift farther west. So we'll show you future radar in a second. First, here's current radar. If you're just joining us, the flood warning continues for northwest Bexar County. I mean, there are so many different flood warnings. Bottom line, high water, street flooding in several areas between San Antonio, Hondo, Bandera, Kerrville. And we're going to watch this closely because, again, this is resulting in problems and concerns for our rivers, for our creeks. I mean, there have been so many different reports of Cibolo Creek being flooded at this very hour, and we have that weather impact alert all the way through tonight, tomorrow morning. And then weather should start to improve by Saturday and Sunday. It's just the ongoing rain, the round after round, that can cause problem after problem for all the water areas around the region. So
it's going to be a long evening, but we're here with you. We want you to stay weather aware. Be sure to download our KENS 5 app, KENS 5 Plus. We'll keep you up to date.